This is the Shreveport Report for September 27th, 2016. Shreveport, replace with a functional society. If you don't have issues with this, Shreveport, the second most Bible-minded city in the United States, you were probably part of the problem because this is an issue. If you have to ask yourself what problem, you really are part of the problem. The problem, Shreveport is socially dysfunctional. Bible-mindedness is a product of social dysfunction. Drug dealing in your neighborhood is social dysfunction. People are dealing drugs because they're poor, they can't keep a job, they can't get a job, or they're just looking to buy one of those fancy new cars that you see advertised in all of those news reports. Yeah, our TV stations are financed by car dealers who are financed by drug dealers. Here is why the culture of crime in my neighborhood continues unabated. Starting with how to get rid of drug dealers. Number one, talk to your neighbors and other property owners in the area. It will be easier to identify, stop, and prevent drug activity in your neighborhood if you work together. Your neighbors may have noticed things you haven't, and vice versa. Well, friends and neighbors, my neighbors are hostile. They support the drug dealers. They have that no snitch rule. Even though they may have a body in their driveway, they won't report it. Besides that, every one of my neighbors, except one, is a tenant. They don't own the property. Their property owners don't even live here. They live somewhere else. And those people don't give a shit. Number two, watch for suspicious activity. If you suspect that there are drug dealings going on in your neighborhood, look for warning signs. Visitors at strange hours, blocked up windows, odd smells, excessive foot traffic to and from a house, loitering may be signs that illicit activity is occurring. Another suspicious pattern is the presence of many cars that stop at the house for a short period of time and then leave. Other possible signs of drug activity include graffiti and gang activity in the area, although these are not always linked. Well, let's see. Ding, 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 ding. All of the above. Suspicious activity, cars coming and going at all hours, announcing they're coming and going with loud stereos and roaring pipes, excessive foot traffic, loitering, hanging out outside in all types of weather and conditions with all that sweet smoke wafting through the neighborhood. You bet, loitering. Children hanging out in the street, smoking dope with adults. You name it, it's there. Number three, keep an eye out for drug paraphernalia. Surprisingly, people can be careless about concealing drug paraphernalia, like my neighbor leaving little pinched-off bags along the fence line and around their door. Even if the police are present and, it's been established in the neighborhood, which mine certainly is, but who knows what they're doing. If you see signs of these materials, call the police. Like that will do any good. If you find evidence of drug paraphernalia, don't collect it or look around for additional materials. Take note of where you found it, like I just did, what type of paraphernalia it was, what time of day you discovered it, and on what date, and report those details to the police. Like I said, not much will happen. The police always say, well, we have to see them do it. Number four, record as much detail as you can. Always stay safe and don't approach potential dealers. but they're in my face all the time. I can't come and go without having to run their gauntlets. Gather details about their activities. Observe what you can to help the police take the proper action. And what proper action might that be that the police would take? I can't tell. If the drug dealer lives nearby, more than one, you can often document activities from the safety of your own home, like on this video. If you observe suspicious traffic activity, oh boy, suspicious. Take notes of license plate numbers, car models and colors, and approximate time of visits. Yes, all of this stuff is documented very well. If you are concerned about a particular individual, write down a detailed description including height, build, hair color, and any identifying features. Well, they're hiding in their automobiles. Include the circumstances that have caused your suspicion. That's what these videos do. If you feel that the situation is dangerous, be cautious. Oh boy, it is dangerous. Do not openly collect information. Well, I openly collect information. Everybody knows I'm doing it, and they flaunt the fact. I take photographs as video. Number 5, contact the police. This has not revealed itself as effective. The police keep repeating to me, "We have to see them do it." Apparently, video doesn't make any difference. I guarantee you they would contact me if there was a shootout in front of my house and someone was killed. They would want those videos right away. And by the way, that has happened. Reducing neighborhood drug activity. Another facet of the culture of crime is drug activity. And there's almost nothing I can do to correct this problem or deal with it. I am on my own, and I'm up against an army of happy users. Number 1, start a neighborhood watch. Well, our tax money is used to support liaison officers and community-oriented policing and neighborhood watch activities and meetings. But every time we try to form a neighborhood watch, no one shows up. Yes, out of hundreds of homes, no one shows up. What do you think that is? I think that's part of that social dysfunction that I was talking about earlier. What do you think? Number 2, form a block club. That won't work in this neighborhood. No one gives a shit. No one will show up. No one cares. It doesn't work here. It's a culture of crime. The neighbors, the people who live here, are openly hostile to any kind of organization and actually favor the drug dealing and the crime because it gets them shit. They get to get involved in watching all of this criminal activity like it's entertainment on television. Number 3, meet safely to discuss problems. Well, like I said, we do have meetings. There's like a neighborhood coalition, but no one shows up. And when they discuss their problems, they discuss, when is my trash going to get picked up more often? They really don't care. The people who are actually causing the problems are young people. The people who show up for the coalition meetings are all over 60. Number 4, ask about local improvements. Well, around here they call that property standards. Property standards is a department of the city government. Again, they don't give a shit. They either are unable or unwilling to do anything about the gross neglect of the neighborhoods. The neighborhoods are blighted. There's a tremendous amount of growth. It provides cover for the criminal activity and the drug dealers. We can't see what's going on because it's like living in a dense forest here. Oh, it is a dense forest. Number 5, contact the property owners. Well, since most of the properties here are owned by absentee landlords who actually encourage the drug dealing because it gets the rent paid, they give a shit, or as it were, they don't give a shit. The information about the property owners is online, it's public information, it makes no difference. If you write them letters, they charge you with harassment. Again, contacting the city departments like for environmental problems, broken streetlights, abandoned cars, sometimes it gets taken care of, sometimes it doesn't. Many times we really can't tell if they're actually listening. They file the reports, it goes into the computer. They don't ever come back with a report as to what might have happened or why not they've taken any action. It's like talking to a wall or speaking in a cemetery. There are plenty of people there, but no one's listening. Finding these Crime Stoppers and neighborhood watch programs to get them to do stuff, well, it all comes down to the police filing a report and the city attorney or the district attorney filing charges. And that won't happen unless the police actually see something happen. And because the city is bankrupt, the police are down by dozens, if not 100 officers lower than they should. We actually need twice as many police as we have. There's no way anything is going to be done unless it's just by coincidence that they see something happen. And when that does happen, we really can't tell if anything's changed or not because they just don't talk to us. Preventing neighborhood drug activity. Like that's going to work. Number 1, promote community spirit. Well, that would work if we were living in a functional society. There can't be any community spirit unless the people that are living here exist in a functioning society. The society is dysfunctional. The drug dealers thrive because of this. It causes us to be isolated. Like my next door neighbor says, stop calling the police. You can't trust those bastards. Well, 20 years of experience living here, I trust them as people. I don't trust them as an institution. Number 2, work with small businesses, local offices, and churches. Well, there is none of that around here except churches. Too many churches. Too many churches means dysfunction. Translates directly to dysfunction. If there are so many churches and no community meetings, how can anything possibly get done in the community when everyone is splintered? Churches are just another way to isolate people. Number 3, develop a youth center in your neighborhood. Well, we have one. Another dysfunctional organization. It just doesn't work. It's the young people who are dealing the drugs. They profit from it. They don't want the drug dealers away. It's part of their culture. The culture of crime. Another dysfunctional part of our society. Number 4, Organize drug education programs in your neighborhood. Schools, churches, and the police usually have resources that can help you establish a drug prevention fair. Well, the problem with this is that the young people don't trust anything that's going on in their school. The church can't possibly help, and they don't trust the police. And how do you actually educate young people who really can't even speak English? They can't even express themselves except in street jargon. Most of them can't even read or write, much less speak English. So this is what's going on here. Our clock is counting backward. We're going backward in time. Things are actually getting worse, not better. Until this clock can count in the forward direction, modernity will never be realized. Shreveport is dysfunctional. Here are some examples. 7:30 in the morning, this car is creeping along. It's full of people who are stoned out of their minds. They've been up all night doing their stuff. You know what stuff that might be. This guy needs to be taken off the road. He is public enemy number one. All of this activity on this corner is exhibition driving to show off to the drug dealers who live on that street, just around the corner. This is a neighbor who drives by with this SUV, disturbing the neighborhood several times a day. Notice the SUV tucking into the driveway to the right. If you notice, but the car is louder than the train. example of 50 miles an hour. Okay, here we go. 75 miles an hour. Here's just an example of a car going 50 miles an hour. This is the Shreveport Report for September 27th, 2016. Shreveport, replace with a functional society.